see what the graph would look like if k was 1. And I don't really have to put the exponent of 1 here unless I want to. So I think I'll leave it off on this one. And then let's take a look at the graph of y equals 2x, y equals 3x. Now hopefully, if we're lucky, we'll see some sort of pattern as we're looking at these graphs. Alright, let's graph y equals 1x. Alright, 1 times x is just x, so whatever x is, that's what y is going to be equal to. So if x is 1, y will be 1. If x is 2, y will be 2. If x is negative 1, y will be negative 1. And if x is 0, y will be 0. So you can see there is definitely a pattern here. And if we go ahead and connect these dots, we get a line. Alright? And that is why we say that this is a linear function, because the x has an exponent of 1. It is linear. Alright, now what happens if we double the x to get the y? So that means if x is 0, we're still at 0, but let's change colors here. X is 1, we double it to get y, then y would become 2. X is 2 and we double that, then y will become 4. 4. Okay, what if we go into the negatives? Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. And negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. So you can see that changing the constant of variation makes a steeper line. Okay? Still going uphill, but it's definitely steeper. Alright, if x is 1, y will be 1 times 3, which is 3. So we're going to go up even higher there. This one will pass through the origin also. Y will be 3, which is 6. Let's see here. And let's do a couple negatives. We'll get negative 3. We'll get a y value down here of 6. So we got here that with a constant of variation 3, it gets even steeper. Okay, this is y equals 3x. So as the constant of variation increases, as k increases, the line gets steeper. Alright, now let's see what would happen if we put a smaller constant of variation in. What if we pick a number smaller than 1, like a fraction, for example? Let's pick an easy one. How about y equals 1/2 x? Okay. For y equals 1/2 x, let's see, if x is 2, half of 2 is 1, so we would have a point right here. If x is 4, half of 4 is 2, so we would have a point right here. If x is 0, half of 0 is 0, so we would still be passing through the origin. And let's do some negatives. If x is negative 2, half of negative 2 is negative 1. Negative 4, half of negative 4 is negative 2. So you can see here, if you have a number less than 1 for your k, we're going to go ahead and it's going to also, the graph will also be linear, straight line, but it's less steep, okay, than the y equals 1x. So as the numbers get smaller, we get less steep. Now, let's try a negative. Let's get so small that we actually pass into negative territory. Equals negative 1x. Oh, wait a second. We forgot to label this one. This one was y equals 1/2 x. Okay, now we're going to graph y equals negative 1x. So let's say x is 2. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. So that's going to put us down here into the fourth quadrant. All right, let's try 0. If we put a 0, 0 times negative 1 is 0, so this one will also pass through the origin. And let's put a negative 1 in. Negative 1 for x times negative 1 would be positive 1. So if x is negative 1, we'll get a positive 1 for our y. And you can see here now, well, look at that. Now we have a line that's going downhill. Downhill. Alrighty. It's going downhill. I wonder if we put, and by the way, this one was y equals negative 1x. I wonder if it will go more steeply downhill if we try y equals negative 2x. My guess is it probably will be more steep. Let's just check to make sure. If I put in a 0 for x, I'm going to get negative 2 times 0, which is 0. So that will still pass through the origin. Now if I put, let's say 2 in for x, 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. So that's going to be down here. And let's say I put a negative 2 in. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. And so that 2, 3, 4 is going to be right here. So our hypothesis was correct. It is going to get steeper, but in a downhill fashion. Okay. And it turns out that the same thing will be true also for the fractions. If we go ahead and multiply by a negative fraction for k, it will be less steep, but it'll still be going downhill.